Want to sharpen your game? Join the DFM Coaching Patreon for exclusive technique breakdowns and mindset training. Now, let's get started.
Welcome to Tapped In. My name is David Figueroa-Martinez of DFM Coaching, and today we're going to be discussing blueprint to training days. I don't train nearly as hard as I used to, and some of that is I used to compete a bit more. Some of that is the fact that I'm teaching more often than I used to, and my main focus is teaching, is instructing, is coaching, it's helping people get better. So I just don't have, I don't get the time on the mats like I used to. A lot of my days, even the days that I really want to train hard or I want to train period, sometimes are navigated or dictated by what happens that day. If I'm teaching my 5 a.m. class and I have an even number of students popping in, then I'm not going to end up rolling that day. And I don't roll simply because I don't want to take a spot away from someone else. So then I'm strictly the coach, strictly the teacher. I might record someone's round secretively so I can do a review for them and send it to them later. I might just watch and observe how people are training, paying attention to, are they doing the things that I've gone over that day? Because that's a big plus for me. If you can start doing that shit, or at least like trying it and testing things out the same day, always gets little brownie points for me. And I enjoy seeing that. So, but I don't get to train nearly as much as I used to. And honestly, I don't really even want to. I want to train more. Don't get me wrong. But I don't want to train the way I used to. I don't want to train the way we used to at Gracie San Diego. I don't want to train the way we used to when I was competing at Rebellion Academy. I'm not interested in that level. I'm not interested in like going heads up with someone necessarily. I want to train where it's like my A game versus someone else's A game, but we both understand that we got to go to work. That's really the kind of training that I'm looking for. And the day that I get it is on Saturdays, open mats at 5 Peaks. That's where I get to really, I don't have to be a coach necessarily. There are moments where I'm helping people out, but it's a little bit more specific to me, and I get to train with other black belts that are trying to also get the better half of this round, and I get to play things, and sometimes I'm using a certain type of game. Maybe I'm a little bit more strategic about what I'm giving them or what I'm not giving them, because I got certain training partners over there that like to dissect people's games, which makes it a lot of fun for me. But that generally is my hard day. And then if sometimes I can get in an open mat at Gracie La Mesa on a Sunday morning, I know I'm going to get a lot of good rounds there. It's not like a 10 out of 10, like we're not going at that level, but I know that people are going to try to get what they can get. So with that being said, I want to discuss a couple of things a couple of different ways that I approach my training based on how my body's feeling and based on how my mental is going. Because I can't discount how I'm mentally feeling for something. And there's going to be days where you are burned out from work, especially if you maybe train at night. There's going to be days maybe you did not sleep well. Last night I was up at 2, did not go back to sleep at all. So there's going to be these days where you're just not on it. And there's going to be these other days where you feel like a superstar. You feel like everything's clicking, everything's working. For once, you're not in pain, your back isn't all jacked, your knee isn't swollen, and you feel good about yourself. And then you're just going to go. It's really important to understand where our bodies are and where we are mentally. Don't ignore either, because there's going to be days where maybe your body feels great, but your mind isn't really there. And if you're trying to have a Pahada day, that might not be the day for that. But if you know your body really well, maybe that's the perfect day. Maybe that's the day where you let it all out. So really pay attention to what your body feels like, what you're feeling mentally. Don't ignore any of that. I am big on recovery days. I'm big on days where you take it easy, but you still train. Maybe that day you only do drills. Maybe you do some light work, some flow rolling. You pick a partner that you know is going to protect you. They're not going to put a whole lot of weight on you. Maybe you're dealing with a tweaked rib or a tender spot, whatever you want to call it. and you just need to move. Maybe for the sanctity or the just for your own self-worth or mental capabilities, you just feel like you just need to be out there. You can dial it down to a point where it feels either like a drill day or a flow roll day. Not everyone can flow roll. Man, that was hard. Not everyone can do that. I have some students, and we joke about it quite often. And I poke fun. It's not. I don't think it's necessarily serious, and it's not something where I need to like pull someone aside and tell them about dialing it back. It's not that, but it's not quite a flow roll. It's a little bit more intense. A flow roll, let's say it's a 1 or 2. Resistance level, really low, a lot of movement, no weight, no submissions. When you look back at some of these groups that I might have, I'm not pointing any fingers, they're going to 3 or 4. So it's not the end of the world. It's just not quite where we should be. Pick your partners really well on those days, because those are days where you're probably nursing something. You're coming back from an injury. Maybe you're in the middle of the injury. Maybe you tweak something. You don't want to do anything that's going to make that worse. You don't want to do anything that's going to make that thing that's maybe a week or 2 of nursing and not doing a whole lot turn into a month just because you couldn't pick the right partner or you couldn't put the brakes on well enough and not go out there and just go ham. Like, enjoy those days. You're going to have, this is a marathon. Both of my custom belts, they say marathon continues. And I got that from Nipsey Hussle. And I love the way he broke it down. And in essence, he said there's nothing special about me. It's just that I went through the race and I did not quit. Pretty much how I felt about my black belt and my journey to black belt. There isn't a whole lot of athletically or skill-wise that's super special about me at all. I pay attention. I apply what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm pretty analytical, but I'm not super athletic. I'm not jacked. I'm not out here looking ripped. You're never going to confuse me for a bodybuilder. You're never going to confuse me for a professional athlete. But I didn't quit. And there were days where you had to just drill because your body needed that downtime. And if you just ignore it and you hit the gas and you keep going and you just keep going for the sake of going, you're really going to injure yourself and create problems that you don't need, that your body just doesn't need. So listen to your body. Listen to what it needs. It's not a lazy day. It's a day where you relax. You put a little time in, get a little bit of movement, watch more than you actually do. Maybe you're helping people. And people, they downplay and they ignore how big that really is for your development. I have learned more as an instructor than I did, I think, as a strict student, because I have to know the material so well and I have to explain it and I have to be able to tell someone how it works and why it works, that I have to know it at a certain depth that I would not have had to know it as a student, especially the amount of techniques, not just, I know my techniques, my A game, I know that really well. I could explain it to anyone, but I got to explain stuff like triangles to people. I got short legs. I don't triangle people very often. So I got to explain a bunch of moves to different people of varying developmental stages. So it requires me to really know. And when you slow it down and you on those drill days and you kind of help people out, it reinforces certain things in you and you start to really pick up on details that maybe you would have missed. Those days are a blessing. Don't discount those days. And there's going to be days where you feel pretty good. Maybe you feel better than a drill day, but you're not injured necessarily. You could do this while you're nursing something, but you're not necessarily injured. Maybe you're a little fatigued. Maybe you're a little banged up. Maybe you train. It's towards the end of the week. It's now Thursday, Friday. You have trained 2, 3 days, 4 days already that week. And these days or these rounds, or maybe in a day, you had 4 or 5 rounds. And that last round is you're just exhausted. This is where you can do just defense, where you're just focused on playing guard, playing from bottom, keeping yourself safe, creating little nuanced angles, making them have to work, making them have to adjust, bridging when it really needed, timing your bridges, the angle of your bridges, all that is super important. And that comes from forcing yourself to play defensively. Either someone puts you there, which happens, or you intentionally put yourself there because you don't have the energy that day or that round. So you just say, you know what, I'm going to play a lot of defense. I don't sit out very many rounds. Me, it's never been something that I've done. I've always felt like I only have so many rounds in a week. I can't give those rounds up by sitting out. So you do not see me sitting out very often. That might change as I get older. But even the rounds that I didn't want to do because I'm exhausted, I do them, and I do them from a defensive capability. I shut down everything that is offensive for me. I'm not looking to submit you. I'm not looking to get on top. I'm not looking to sweep necessarily. Those rounds, I become a defensive maestro and defending from anything that top player want to do. I am not in a rush to do anything. And what those rounds have taught me over the years is a lot of defense is very particular and it's very small, almost insignificant. Are there big explosive bridges that reverse the position? Yes, quite a bit. But like when the really good defensive people, the people that I've rolled with that for whatever reason, I just can't submit them. They're really good from little minute positions. They're good at just giving you a little bit of a bump on a bridge, which forces you to kind of hesitate. They're really good at getting the elbows really nice and tight. There's no gaps between their elbows and their rib cages. There's no gaps between the shoulder and the neck. They're if you could picture, like, if you're a boxing fan, Mayweather, he would use his shoulder and he would tuck his shoulder right up against his jaw, and it would prevent boxers from hitting him with a hook, or sometimes they're straight. So I do that sometimes from a defensive posture, and I've seen other people do it really well. And it makes it hard to get into the neck because they have this weird way of just creating this connection between the neck and the shoulder, the jaw and the shoulder. And then when you start getting deep in that crevice, then they start bridging. And then you have to post and you have to use your hands to not fall over. And so your defensive days are going to be massive for you. Do not ignore those days. They're huge. I know we often, like, even as an instructor, I teach a lot of offensive stuff, attacks from attacking the back, attacking the guard, attacking this and that. But we don't focus enough on defense. Defense isn't sexy. It's not something that a lot of people talk about. I did a workshop on Sunday that was all defensive related, and I got a couple of aha moments for people. And it was fun for me because everything that I was showing was really simple for the most part. It's just, they're details that unless you spend time in these moments and you spend a lot of intentional time there, you're just not going to get. And sometimes you get them in a workshop, a seminar, but how many seminars are there out there about defensive shit? Everything's kind of on the offensive side. So I like to do these every once in a while because it gets people thinking. And then you're going to have your normal days. Your normal days are just you and you're having fun. Sometimes you're getting wrecked. Sometimes but you feel really, really good. Regardless of whether you're winning a round, losing a round, your body feels good. Your injuries aren't at a high level. They might be lingering, but they're not preventing you from doing your A game and most of the things you normally do. Those are your base level days. Enjoy those because as you get older, you have a little bit less of those, and then you have a little bit more of the more defensive and the drilling days and so on. So if you're on the younger side and you're healthy, learn to love those days. Don't take them for granted because you're going to have days where that's going to be a little different the more you age. And then you're going to have your Pahada days. Those are days that I do not reserve. I don't do multiple days of those anymore. When I was coming up, most of the days were like that. When I was coming up, because it was a lot of competition heavy, and it was this mindset of you got to go, go, go. Or maybe you had a training partner that was getting ready for a competition, and maybe you're not, but you got to go because they're getting ready for a competition. Pahada days they're fun, but man, are they taxing. You can't do that. You can't do that every week, every day. You have to, even as I watch the high level competitors age, many of them are discussing maybe they should have trained differently. Maybe they should have trained a little bit more with more insight on the mileage they were putting on their bodies. And maybe they should have ignored certain things, and maybe they should have tailored some of their weeks or some of their training differently so their bodies weren't so wrecked now that they're in their 40s and potentially 50s. There's something to that. You do not want to do your Pahada days all the time. Every once in a while, it's fun. And the closest thing that I have is that 5 Peaks Saturday morning. It's not 100%. We're not trying to kill each other. But it's the one of the few days that I get to really hit the gas and see what it's like. I've told this story a few times, but I remember rolling with Tyler Bishop. Don't know if he had a bad day. Don't know if he just needed to blow off some steam. He is sitting across from me and he tells me, today's not going to be a good day for you. I didn't really know what that meant because I had never seen him. He had never said that to me before in my life. And he proceeded to fuck me up. He tapped me, I want to say every minute or every other minute of that round. And I had nothing. I did nothing. I had nothing. I was just getting wrecked. Sometimes you got to hit the gas and you got to do that to somebody. Not that you're trying to hurt them. Not that you're trying to put them in a terrible spot or anything or humiliate them. But sometimes you just got to see how fast the car can go. And you just got to put that time in. And that person across from you, my apologies, but it's going to suck for you today. When I was getting ready for this last competition that we ended up not doing because no one showed, I was hitting the gas quite a bit. And I know I had to be annoying some of the students. And I know they were not feeling great because it was competition level. I was trying to be really aggressive and push the pace and do things that I didn't normally do. And a lot of the rounds were kind of semi-Pahada because I was going for something specific at a competition. So, but aside from competition prep, and even during competition prep, every round shouldn't be that. Every day shouldn't be that. It should be measured. You should be deciding which days you're going to do that with, which days make more sense because maybe you're tired, maybe you're injured, maybe you're lagging, maybe you didn't get enough rest, enough sleep, and you don't want to do Pahada days all the time. It doesn't do you any good. But every once in a while, just hit that gas and see what happens. So the challenge is knowing which one of these days is going to be. And they don't have to be specific days. They can be specific rounds. They could be, in the beginning, maybe you're doing some light stuff to warm up. And then in the middle, you're doing a little bit more Pahada. And then towards the end, maybe you're doing a little more defense or mixing it up, depending on maybe who you're training with. Maybe your favorite training partner it hits you up. Last roll, you're tired, but you guys Pahada. So go. Have fun with it. Understand your body. Pay attention to your body. Pay attention to the things that you're feeling. Don't ignore your emotions. Don't ignore how you're feeling throughout the day and throughout the week and during class. That's super important. We are not just physical or just emotional. We're a complete being, and we got to pay attention to both of those things. I'm hoping this made some sense. If it doesn't, or you need some feedback, some coaching on this, please let me know. I have a Patreon page up now, and my hope is to kind of do more coaching with people and release more material on that. But if you're interested, the link is in the show notes. If you like this podcast, please like, subscribe, share it with some friends, rate it. It goes a long way for us. Until next time, thank you so much.